Welcome back, everybody. Round 3 underway, week 2. And we got, I got to move things around here. That's better. We got, I'm getting a weird clicking in my headphones. We got Adam from Lost Lantern going up against the chosen one, Deke. He beat Rough Spirits. And Deke, I do have your special prize for that figured out, and I will be getting that to you shortly here. It's a little Richard's swag gift pack. So
cool.
Well,
yeah,
I appreciate you beating Rough Spirits already, because I was.
A lot of people appreciate me beating Rough Spirits.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so Adam, you're traveling, so you've got your samples in a hotel room with you, I'm assuming.
Yep, nicely wrapped up still. I brought them all the way from Vermont to Phoenix, Arizona. Got up at 3 a.m. this morning, and the whiskey made it intact. The question is, did my palate make it intact? Nora says no, so we'll see about that. But
no, Nora's already going against you. Nora's going against you already, though, huh?
Yeah.
Is that just like the husband and wife competitive spirit thing?
It seems like it, yeah. But
okay.
She wants me to win, but is trying to set my expectations accordingly.
So, that makes sense. That's a good friend, and that's what that is. Don't set yourself up for failure. Set yourself up to fail, and when you do good, it's even better.
Exactly.
I like that. And Deke, are you ready? You've been practicing?
Yeah, much to my wife's chagrin.
You have her pour you some weird stuff and not tell you what it is?
Well, I've been practicing since like November, so like she comes in and my whiskey's spread throughout the house, so she doesn't want to pick it in the room that I'm in. And I'm like, I can get up and leave. And so she comes into my office here, my main whiskey room, and she's like, I don't know what I poured you anymore. Like, everything looks the same.
Yeah, they're all the same, aren't they?
Yeah, she did do something new this time. She was trying to look at the color of the samples and match whiskeys accordingly. So we'll see how she did.
That's kind of cool. That's a good idea. All right. Well, guys, go ahead, get into sample number 1. And I'm going to go through and do a little roll call. The intro, yes, the intro change is going to change for every showdown of round 3. Thank you to my good friend, the Whiskey Franco. He is a fantastic writer and is helping me write some of these little intro things. So hopefully there will be some good funniness coming up. And Joe, sorry for the shot at you there.
Yeah, I don't like how I've become the evil empire in this one. It's very troubling.
Well, okay, so realistically, Marshall was, and I don't know which one to compare him to the most. Is he Darth Vader? Is he Dooku? Is he just like Darth Maul? Some random Sith guy. Where do we compare him to? But seeing how as Deke here defeated Marshall, which was kind of like everybody's goal, he's kind of like the Luke Skywalker of the showdown. So
the way I look at it, Adam, is that was episode 4. Now we're at episode 5, and you're Yoda. How's that?
I can live with that. I don't think I can do the Yoda speech on the fly, though.
No, that takes a little bit of prep and practice. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go through a little roll call. Guys, I moved things around in here a little bit. I got a different camera angle. The camera is no longer above my monitor, so me looking this way is actually looking at the monitor now. I've been noticing that I look at the screen a lot instead of the camera, so I want to try to circumvent that and make sure I'm looking at the camera instead of the screen all the time. But I am going to have to look at the screen to look at comments. So not certain I'm going to dig this or not, but we'll play around with it a little bit. So now I know that Brian F made the first comment several days ago, and it is no longer there. So I'm gonna give a shout out to Brian for making the first comment on like Thursday, I think. I don't remember what day I put it on. Maybe it was Saturday. I put it up there, and he put it up on Sunday. Yeah, that sounds more right. But we got Dan the Whiskey Punkard here, and he is asking, if a child asks, why does it rain? Tell them because God is crying. And if the child asks why God is crying, tell them because of Amber on a Pink. Couldn't agree more. We got Whiskey Addict Mike in the house. Brian F is here. Smoke by Ash is here. Hey, Joe. Joe is watching from the car. He sent a picture. He actually has the Showdown playing on the screen in his car currently. We got the Whiskey Shaman here at a baseball game. Excellent. Cheers, buddy. Jason Coates is in the house. Thanks, Jason. Spicy Strawberry is here. Whiskey Franco is here. We got Jeff in the house. Fast How To. Guys, go check his channel out. Fast How To. Thank you for joining, Jeff. Thank you, buddy.
Nora's watching too. I don't think she's in the chat, but
Caesar is here.
Definitely on the stream.
She's going to chat in. I'm sure she's going to talk a little smack at some point in time.
I'm sure.
Patty is here. Caesar's neighbor. Well, you guys are chatty already. Stacy is here. How you doing, Stacy? Guys, make sure you go check out her channel as well. There's been some definitely during the month of March here. Not that her channel never has anything good on it. It's always good, but the March stuff so far has been really fun to watch. She had Donald Rance on the other day, and that was a really, really awesome stream. And she's got a really good one coming up, so go check her out. Am I in the dark? I'm down to I got rid of one light, Patty. So I'm on one light, and since I'm wearing green, my blue light drowned out the green, so I popped a red one in there, so it's a little bit darker than the blue. Joe's Whiskey Den is here. How you, Joe? And there she is. There's Nora. Lurking. Perfect. And that sums that up. Okay, excellent. All right, what are you guys getting on this first one so far?
It's got a really nice nose.
It does.
It's very like peppery and spicy.
Peppery and spicy.
A Bolivian spelt whiskey finished in yak's bladder. I want to try that.
I like weird stuff, and I'm not sure I would go after that one.
Yeah, I don't know if I would taste it. I would smell it.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Wow, Nora, way to call me out. In my defense, she did remind me about 3 different times to pack the Glencairns, and I still did not.
It's how it happens.
Okay.
I need any advantage I can get.
There is a company out there called Duradram, and I haven't purchased yet, and I really would like to, but they're silicone Glencairns. And obviously for traveling, they would be fantastic because you never have to worry about it breaking. Some of the people that I know that have tried them, one of the questions I had was, does the silicone have a smell to it that kind of hinders the smelling of the whiskey? And they said that it does not at all. Maybe when you first get it, it's got a little bit of smell and you just wash it and it goes away. So something I would like to check out sometime soon.
We even have a really nice Glencairn carrying case that has Balcones branding on it, and they gave it to us when we visited for their 10th anniversary, which was probably like 6 or 7 years ago now. And it carries 2 Glencairns, easy to travel with. However, it does require that you put it in your suitcase, and otherwise it fails.
Oh, yeah. I worry about glass in my suitcase.
Yeah.
They toss those things around pretty rough.
We brought 2 bottles with us, and neither of them broke. But we've only ever lost 1 bottle, and it's not very fun when you open your suitcase and it's filled with broken glass and whiskey all over your clothes.
Brian, still going strong, buddy. It's not broken yet.
I'm debating with myself whether this has a little bit of smoke in it or not. And it's definitely not a peat bomb, but I'm not sure if it's just kind of the like general flavor coming through, or if there is in fact a little bit of peat. So I'll be very curious to find that out later.
Yeah, I was hoping water would open that up a little bit, but it didn't really do anything. It just tamped it down. I'm not getting any smoke on it at all.
Adrian is here. Hello, Adrian. Thank you for joining, friend. Nobody's asked yet, but obviously, in honor of Adam from Lost Lantern, I do have 1 or 2 bottles of Lost Lantern. So I am drinking right now, currently, the Spirit Works 10-year rye.
Nice.
Absolutely killer rye whiskey. When I got the 10 years, I opened both the ryes pretty quickly. And at the very beginning, the New York was my favorite. And then like 3 days later, it totally switched and the Spirit Works became my favorite. So it's kind of cool. Not that either one of them are I mean, they're both absolutely fantastic.
Isn't it funny how that works sometimes, where like your first impression can change pretty dramatically after you taste it a few times?
Absolutely. The Spirit Works adds, I mean, like the New York rides that I've had. So New York Distilling, Finger Lakes, Kings County, they all have this really nice like fruit undertone to the rye. And the Spirit Works has more of the mint and the chocolate and the darkness to it. And I just find myself liking those a little bit more.
Yeah, it's very much on the spicy side of rye.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what are we at? 69.6. It's hard to not be spicy regardless of what kind of spirit it is, but
yeah, fair enough. I'm excited to do the reveal on this one later in the evening. I really like it.
Good.
Yeah, this one's really good.
I too like this one.
There's just so much on the list that I haven't had. I have no idea like where to go with it. I don't think I've had it before.
What do you do if you buy a bottle and you don't end up particularly liking it? Where it's like not even the way where it's interesting, but it's just like, this is fine, but it's not my favorite. I don't really need to drink all this. Do you just kind of stick it on the back of the shelf? Do you share it with friends?
Well, and realistically for me, and I don't know if it's because I'm more discerning when I purchase stuff, or if I'm just very not picky. I've only had 2 bottles that I couldn't drink. And that's out of everything that I've ever bought. Most of the time, if I don't particularly like it neat, I will throw it in the kitchen and I will make some cocktails with it and see if it services okay in cocktails. And then it'll just kind of stay as a cocktail bottle. There's always, I mean, at any given point in time, there's a couple bottles on the shelf here that I don't drink particularly often because I don't thoroughly enjoy them, but they're always here for anybody to grab, and obviously up in the list for getting put in the showdown. So sometimes it happens. Sometimes I send Jack a sample that nobody likes, and he gets angry about it. That was funny.
It's a hate crime.
That will live down in infamy. What do we got here? Yeah, see, this is the other thing I don't like about this. I'm missing the chat. And the chat is always the fun part about this. Adrian. What did Joe ask?
I'm done second guessing myself, so I'm ready whenever you are, Adam.
Yeah, same. I'm feeling somewhat
just changed my
confident what I think it is, which is very bad. It's bad to be confident.
I just changed my bottle guess, and we'll see.
All right, you guys are ready, huh?
Let's do it.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, Jason, cooking whiskey is always an excellent option. That's usually what Blanton's goes to. But I'm now out of Blanton's finally. I was getting it as a gift, Christmas gift for a couple years. And it's like, I never drank it and I never opened it. And it was like building up, and I had 3 bottles here. I'm like, what do I do with these? So I gave a couple away for some charity raffles and ended up opening one to make sure I did try it. So, but you guys are ready. So Ryan, we're going to start with you. Run them down the list. What are you thinking it is?
All right. I said it's a single malt. I said generic proof 45. Used casking. I did say Scottish single malt, although I was getting some Irish vibes on it a little bit. Specific proof 46. Casking ex-bourbon and sherry. And then I thought, I just took a stab at a bottle I've never had. I thought it was the Mortlock 12.
12-year.
This is going to be good.
All right. Adam, what are you coming up with?
Very similar vein. Generic category, single malt. Generic ABV. What's the range we're allowed to do?
Plus or minus 2.
Okay, that's what I thought. I did 48%. Generic cask, I said used. I also said Scotch single malt, but I said specific ABV of 50%. I think it's just ex-bourbon, no sherry. And my guess is a whiskey that I often perceive as having a little bit of smoke, but doesn't actually have it. So I decided it's not smoked, which is Bruichladdich. And I said this was the Isla Barley 2011.
Isla Barley 11. Right.
We still have a bottle of the Isla Barley 2007, which is one of Nora's favorite scotches that we've ever had.
That is one of my absolute favorites too. I have a little bit left of one here.
Yeah, I almost went Bruichladdich because of like that. It wasn't as salty as like Bruichladdich typically is. Like, but the pepperiness, a little bit of salinity. I thought maybe Kleinleach at first, but I'm like, it didn't have the robustness that I usually get out of Kleinleach. It was a little more delicate, but.
All right. Good guesses, guys. Good stuff all the way through. All right. Go ahead. Get into sample number 2.
It'll be devastating if we were both totally wrong and it's like Australian corn whiskey aged in a rum cask or something.
Spicy, you are correct. It was Basil Hayden's dark rye that went down the drain.
Well, that's not whiskey abuse because that's not technically a whiskey.
You know, so it was early on in my journey, and I was unaware of some of that stuff. And come to find out later that, you know, it shouldn't technically be called whiskey because they actually mix port in with it instead of finishing it in the barrel. And that even made it worse for me. So,
yeah, I had it once at a bar. I was not a fan.
I had it once at an event, I think when they first were launching it, when I was a journalist, and I felt similarly.
Now, this one does smell a little familiar.
It does, but this is immediately harder for me than the first one.
harder, like more difficult, or it's harder to drink?
More difficult to blind taste it. I really like this one too.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally different.
It's got a little bit of that marker note on it, though, to me.
Permanent marker?
Yeah.
Like black Sharpie type.
Yeah. Like that, like astringency.
I can see that.
Do you associate that note with something bad?
I mean, it's not my favorite note in a whiskey.
Right, but I mean, do you pick up that note and go, something went wrong making this whiskey that note's coming through, or is it just a note you don't like and it's in some whiskeys and it's okay to be there, it just doesn't happen to be one of your favorites?
I don't necessarily think something went wrong. I mean, sometimes that's just a marker of higher proof stuff. Like for example, Old Forester, like Blue Label barrel proof ones can be a little astringent and needs a little water on it. So
that I can agree with.
But every Blue Label I've ever had has still been better than a Black Label, just because I don't know. There's just so much more flavor to it. Like proofing it all the way down to 100 from 120 to 130, where they usually come in at, takes it down a little too far for me. Okay. They're still good. It feels like it's weird to say something 100 proof is watered down, but it definitely feels like it's too much water has been added.
Okay. That makes sense. I get it.
And you do a random draw on these, right? Or is that not a question
yes.
you're allowed to ask?
Okay. Yes, I do. It's that list that you got goes into a randomizer, and the list goes in, and I shuffle the hell out of it 20, 30 times, then run the randomizer. It selects one. Then I shuffle it, select one, shuffle it, select one, and then start over for the next whatever people. So yes, they are very randomized. In round one, if a peated whiskey landed, I just switched things around with those three samples so that the peated whiskey ended in the end the third sample. Rounds 2 going to be that way, and then the final battle, depending on who's in there and how they've done and what they've excelled at and stuff throughout the show, I do a hand select for those 3 samples. So that one is me picking them, not through the randomizer.
That makes sense.
And Marshall will tell you that I picked the 3 absolute worst whiskeys that he has ever had in his entire life.
Sure, that's exactly what he said.
Probably there was a few more words added in there, but yeah, pretty close.
Did he go down screaming when he lost?
No, he actually won. Well, this one he did not. He went down very peacefully. He was Deke did a really good job. And Marshall was just off a little bit that night, and he knew it, and it's just how the cards got dealt. So, right.
I'm almost there. I'm just waffling on the final guess.
Yeah, me too. This one's really drying to me.
Mm-hmm.
Always with the Malort comments. Somebody's always with the Malort. Do you actually like Malort, Adam? You had made a comment the other day about it.
I'm not particularly. I don't hate it the way that some people do. I enjoy, when the circumstance arises, being able to do a shot of it without making a face at all, in a way that some people who haven't had it before cannot do. But I did an event in Texas last year that was hosted by a bartender who was like the unofficial Malort brand ambassador and had like multiple Malort tattoos on her body. And I'm like, I do not feel that way about Malort. I'm like, it's a fun novelty.
You're not going out and getting Malort ink anytime soon.
No, not for me. Okay, I think I'm good. I think I'm wrong, but that's the fun of it.
Ryan, yeah, you're ready?
I think I'm good.
All right, Adam's ready? Okay. We will be back in 30 seconds with your guesses. Absolutely, Jason. Yes, absolutely.
I did get a Malort winter hat for Christmas this year.
I mean, a hat, I would wear a hat. I mean, it's a conversation piece at that point in time. Absolutely. So, all right, Adam, let's start with you. Run them down.
Okay. Generic category, I'm going rye whiskey. For ABV, going at 100 or 50 proof. And being rye whiskey, I'll say New Oak. For specific category, I don't know if it makes a difference, but I'll say American rye whiskey, American straight rye whiskey.
Straight.
Sticking with 100 proof, new cask, no finish, just New Oak. Specific guess, I'm not so sure about, because it's whiskey I haven't had in a while, but it reminds me of what I remember from them, which is 45th Parallel in your neck of the woods. I'm going to say the R100.
Perfect. And Ryan, what do you got?
All right, this is where we really split off. I said it was a bourbon. I said it was 60 ABV. New oak, straight bourbon. Specific proof, I went down to 59. Staying with new oak. And I don't know if you've got 4 of these bottles, so I don't know if you need the specific one, but I thought it was an Elijah Craig barrel proof.
Okay, so ECBP. No, I don't need the specific batch.
Yeah.
Distillery guess?
Well, Heaven Hill.
Okay.
For Elijah Craig.
All right. So it's always fun to me when you guys are close on a sample with your guesses, and then you're almost polar opposites on a sample. It's always fun to.
It happened last round. I guessed bourbon, Marshall guessed rye, and I was right. I'm not so sure this time.
Yeah. I find it happening almost every show. There's at least one sample where the guesses are polar opposites. So, all right, gentlemen, get into sample number 3. This may be the only Lost Lantern I wouldn't buy.
I will 100% buy that one.
I mean, realistically, I probably would buy it just because. But
I like that we've been upgraded to a whole section on the list.
Yes, yes. You actually are your own cabinet.
Yes.
Yeah, this guy right here. This is all Lost Lantern, except for those 2 in the front there. I don't know where to put those yet. They got opened, and they shouldn't have been opened because I didn't have the room for them. Jason, that 45th parallel rye is chef's kiss. Absolutely. Both their regular rye and the R100s. Absolutely fantastic stuff.
I think I've said it before on this, but they were almost our second or third rye partner. We haven't worked with them yet, but we were very close to buying barrels from them in late March 2020, and then the world.
What happened then?
Yeah, something happened then that kind of disrupted everything for a while, and then we had to slow things down. They had to figure their things out, and I just really need to get back out there because I'm sure it's 5 years later is even better now.
Yeah, they're well, and now they got a single malt to look at.
Nice.
I don't know if they've got any more aging. From the sounds of it, it sounded like that single malt was kind of like a one-off project for the distiller because he's Scottish. But I hope that they have more of that coming because it's delicious. It really was fantastic. But yeah, their rye whiskey is top notch. So
this one's just freaking weird, man.
Yeah.
Nose isn't bad. The palate threw me on first sip.
But the nose definitely doesn't. I haven't tasted it yet, but the nose does not tell me what it is. Like I have no guess for category. There's some things I've rolled out, but nothing that I've like ruled in yet.
I love that.
Funky. Where's your weird stuff category on this list?
Well,
most of it.
Oh, oddities. There it is. I knew there was one.
Yeah, oddities doesn't mean necessarily like weird things. It's just it doesn't necessarily fit into a normal category. So it's either going to be like, it'll be like the light whiskey or a full-on wheat whiskey, or different countries, Australia and India and what country is M&H from? can't.
Israel.
It's Israel. There we go. I'm like Jerusalem, but I can't think of the country. So that's kind of what oddities is, or stuff that doesn't fit into like either bourbon or rye because they like blended that kind of stuff together. That stuff is in there. So. Right. And thank you to our friends over at Bourbon with Friends for sponsoring the show. Anywhere where you can check out a podcast at, you will find Bourbon with Friends podcast. Search them up, Bourbon with Friends. YouTube, Bourbon with Friends. Instagram, BWF Podcast. Guys, check them out. The podcast is awesome. Adrian, Martin, and Brian do a great job. They ask some very cool questions. They keep it kind of nerdy. They keep it kind of like interesting. And then they break into something that's, lightens the mood. Weird stuff, good, funny podcast. Great to listen to. Great guests. Check them out. Bourbon with Friends podcast. And also 10th Mountain Whiskey and Spirits Company. Distribution from their website, 42 states and counting. Distribution to retail locations, 32 states and counting. They are making whiskey in the form of bourbon, rye, single malt. They're making brandies. They're making cordial. They got a potato vodka and moonshine. They're based out of Vail, Colorado. So if you ever head up that direction, definitely go check out the distillery. And if you're interested in checking them out, ask your local retailer if they got them or if they can bring them in. And if the answer is no, go to their website, 10thwhiskey.com, and see if they ship to you. Chances are they probably do. So check them out, 10th Mountain Whiskey and Spirits Company, 10thwhiskey.com.
This one's really hard.
Oh, I'm sorry. I ghosted Joe on that one. Yeah, Joe, the editor, is the reason they're on YouTube. So please, Bourbon with Friends podcast on YouTube. Definitely watch that. Joe puts in a lot of time and effort to make that video, and he does a fantastic job. So go check it out. Yes, sorry, Joe. My bad. No love for the editor ever. So I've moved on. Another Lost Lantern, shocking. This is the Andalusia. I don't remember what was special about this one.
It's their triple distilled, and which up to that point was never available outside of Texas before.
Oh, and this was New Oak triple distilled, though, right?
Yeah.
That's what was special about it, because usually triple distilled goes in used.
Yeah.
And this was New Oak. Yeah, that's right. Fantastic. Andalusia is fantastic. Speaking of Andalusia, you are releasing another Andalusia.
That's true, and I actually have it right over here.
Excellent. So April 2nd, I believe you've announced the release. So the last time you were on the show, your release was not yet announced, so we couldn't really talk about it. But it is announced now. Everybody knows about it. It is all over Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. Website, you've been blasting it.
So this is our spring collection coming out April 2nd. Collection of finished whiskeys from around the country, but not just finishes, but whiskeys that are exploring new American finishing traditions, things that we really haven't seen before. Like, we all love sherry finishes, we all love port, but that's a very European tradition. And then places in the US are starting to explore things that are very locally rooted. So our Andalusia this time is a Pita Texas single malt finished in a tequila cask. So obviously not from the state of Texas, because the cask comes from Mexico, but like a very southwestern style of whiskey that almost tastes like a cross between single malt and mezcal.
And if I remember correctly, that particular Andalusia was Revenant Oak, and then it was aged in a ex-Striker barrel, so which is another Andalusia whiskey,
Yeah.
and then put in the tequila barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it has a little bit of smoke already in the underlying spirit. It gets more of that like wood smoke from the Striker barrel. And then the tequila doesn't have smoke itself, of course, but it still kind of integrates in a way that you taste all of it.
I cannot wait till that releases and get my grubby little paws on all of them.
Let's see what Nora said in the chat.
I did not.
She's not supposed to say that.
You're amongst friends. You can say that stuff.
But it's a super fun collection. Like we love apple brandy finishes, and we're doing a bunch of those. And a Pommeau finish from Finger Lakes, our first from them. And going back to Santa Fe, I forget, are you a big fan of the mesquite smoked whiskeys like them and Del Bach?
Mm-hmm. I absolutely am.
Yeah, we're.
I have a hard time with them because I love them both, and I know I prefer the Santa Fe stuff over the Del Bach stuff, and it's very. I mean, it's like by a super thin margin. I don't know why that is. Like, I can't put my finger on why I like the Santa Fe stuff better, a little bit better than the Del Bach stuff. I don't hesitate to buy either one because I like them both and they're both very different whiskeys. But it's just like maybe the Santa Fe makes the mesquite smoke just enough more subtle to where it's not like the astringent mesquite smoke, and the Del Bach has got a little bit more of that astringency in it. I don't know.
That makes sense to me. Like Whiskey Del Bach is definitely more vegetal and like bigger, and I think Santa Fe is a little more. It's like more on the delicate and elegant side, and Whiskey Del Bach is more on the like bold and in your face. And which, like I love them both, but it's just different approaches.
Yes. And yeah, I think I feel the same way about them both. I like them both, and I couldn't not buy one for the other one because it just if I'm looking at both bottles, I'm usually going to gravitate towards the Santa Fe one for a drink, but that's all personal preference. Is how that works out. And yes, Adrian got to try it as well. Lucky duck. So what else do you have? You have a Santa Fe coming out with that?
Yeah, a Santa Fe finished in an apple brandy cask, a Finger Lakes finished in a Pommeau cask, Pommeau being apple cider and apple brandy mixed together, a Watershed Ohio bourbon finished in a Nocino walnut liqueur cask. So I think that's something most people have not seen before. A Starlight honey finish. We couldn't do our first finish collection and not do a Starlight. They're so beloved for that, and we think honey and maple syrup are our two favorite finishes they do, and we could not do maple syrup because we're in Vermont and we would be run out of the state. The honey adds this like beautiful floral note to your bourbon that you normally don't get. And then the flagship is called Opulent Orchard, and that's a 7-year-old New York Distilling Company rye finished in apple brandy casks. That it's a blend of several barrels, so it's a little larger.
Okay.
But we blended that ourselves in house.
So okay, that's right. So it sounds like you got 2 ryes, 2 single malts, and 2 bourbons.
Yeah, Nora, I don't think I'm forgetting anything. She'll jump in and yell at me if I am.
Good. But yeah, they all sound really good. I am very excited for the Finger Lakes.
Whatever one was the walnut finish, like I'd have to make at least one old fashioned out of that bottle with walnut.
With walnut bitters, yeah.
Well, I probably wouldn't use walnut bitters. I probably use regular bitters because it's already got the walnut on it. But
yeah.
But I bet it makes an amazing old fashioned.
Yeah, we're gonna probably try it with an old fashioned at home and in a black Manhattan too. So
Ooh,
two sides of the same coin.
All right, you guys, where are you at with sample number 3? You guys didn't talk about sample number 3 much. I know we kind of filled up the space with other talk here, but there was a little confusion at first as to what it was. And how did it come out? Did you guys start picking up things? And
it's funky.
it's funky.
Whatever it is, I don't know what's contributing to that funk. If it's region, if it's barreling, casking, whatever, But yeah, this one threw me probably more than any sample I've had so far.
Okay.
I mean,
perfect. That's my goal.
Yeah. Other than, again, I'll bring it up for the third time, but the gin finished rye was, I did guess that, I just didn't put it down on paper.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, I was confused when I nosed it, and then when I tasted it, it sort of resolved in a certain direction, but in a way that like you start to get stuck in a certain path, and I think could very well be like totally wrong because it's not actually a pick that's particularly funky, but like a little bit of that funk blew off after the first sip or two.
And with that, are you guys both ready on this one? Do you have your guesses down?
I've got them down. I'm not confident.
Are you changing anything? Either one of you changing?
Well, I've already changed things a bunch of times.
Perfect. I love the second guessing. Evil laugh. All right. Well, if you guys are both ready, Ryan, we're going to start it with you. So, Adam, if you're ready, Ryan, kick it off whenever you want.
All right. I said this was a single malt. I went 58%. And then I second guess myself on proof too, but this is where I really second guess myself. I'm going to go used casking only. Scottish single malt, although it could be an American single malt with just used casking. I don't know, or just very little new casking in there. But Scottish was my guess. 57.2 for specific. I did go ex-bourbon only this time. And then it was funky, so I went Campbelltown, and I went with a Glen Scotia SMWS bottling, just because it had some proof to it. And I don't know what else could have been. Watch this be a lost. I almost guessed Lost Lantern. I went ASM, but the way that it maybe it was just him throwing me off, but the way that he didn't recognize it, I was like, well, it can't be Lost Lantern then.
I'm living in fear that he's going to pass a Lost Lantern sample on me, and I'm not going to realize it.
There's been a lot of talk about that, Adam. There has been a lot of talk about that. And Adam, whenever you're ready, run them down.
Okay. So pretty similar actually until the end. Single malt also. I said 116 for the generic proof. Also said used oak. Scotch single malt. Went down a little bit to 114 for the specific proof. Also saying all used oak. And also said...
What kind of used oak?
Oh, ex-bourbon.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying. And I also said an SMWS bottling because it's a little funky, but did not say Glen Scotia, although I think that's a good guess. I said Tobermory / Leipzig. Which are the same code, I believe.
I think
they are.
Yes.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, Germ, do you know offhand if the SMWS bottling you have is Tobermory or Leipzig?
You'll have to refresh me on which number that is.
42.
No spoilers. Wait till the reveal.
Well, I'm just curious because I didn't get smoke off of that one, so I don't think it's Lecheg.
I will double check. I don't know. Actually, I don't remember that bottle that well.
Well, that does not bode well for me.
Well, yeah, that that tells me it's probably not that bottle. Or Germ's a really good actor.
Some say I have a great poker face.
So we were very similar on number 1 and number 3, and then like totally different on number 2. So this is going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Out of the 3 samples, guys, Adam, which one did you like the most?
I liked all of them, but number 1 was my favorite.
Number 1 was your favorite. And Ryan?
Same.
Number 1 was your favorite as well. Cool. We're just going to go right down the line. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
You're not going to save 2 for last, considering that's the big differentiator?
I might.
Okay. That's what I would do.
I might do something totally different here too. So. I'm actually going to do something totally different here. I am going to start with sample 3 because you guys tied sample 3.
Ooh.
So, with that said, Ryan and Adam both said single malt for a generic category, and they are both correct. It is a single malt, so a point there for each. Ryan, you said 58%. Adam, you said 116 proof. No points there for either of you. It is 54.9 or 109.8 proof. You both said used casking. You both get a point there. It is used casking. You both said Scottish single malt, so you're both going to take a point there. Again, with the proof, no points. Ryan, you said 57.2. Adam, you said 114 proof. 54.9 or 109.8 is where we're at. You both said ex-bourbon. You're both going to take a point there. It is ex-bourbon and ex-bourbon only. Ryan, you said Glen Scotia. Adam, you said Tobermory. Neither one of you got a point on that. However, you both got 2 points on the bottle. It is an SMWS bottle.
Wow.
And the fact that some of the stuff that you said was in the very beginning, it was confusing. It was a tricky one. There was things playing games there. Made me chuckle. The distillery is actually Blair Ethol. And the bottle is Subtle Trickster.
I almost guessed that.
I did not almost guess that.
So this is distillery number 68 is Blair Ethol. It is a 13-year-old ex-bourbon hogshead only, distilled on the 29th of February, 2008 at 54.9%.
That was leap day. Doesn't that mean that's only a 4-year-old whiskey?
Yeah, right? What did I say? 29th? Oh, 22nd. I'm sorry. 22nd of February. Anyways, that would have been funny if it was still on the 29th. I wonder if they do that. Distill on the leap day.
Probably not, because no one wants to have to. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess
right.
Obviously you're just playing around with the numbers at that point.
Yeah. So that ended up as a score of 6-6. Both of you guys got 6 points on sample number 3. Okay, so now going to your favorite sample number 1. Ryan, you said single malt. Adam, you said single malt. Neither one of you are going to get a point on that one. It is not single malt. It is single pot still.
Ooh.
Ryan, you said 45%. Adam, you said 48%. You both take a point on that. Ryan, you are 1 percentage point shy. Adam, you were 2 percentage points high. So it's 46% or 92 proof. You both said used casking. You're both going to take a point on that one. You both said Scottish single malt. So no points there. It is actually an Irish single pot still. Ryan, you came to 46% on your specific ABV. You got a point on that one. It is 46. Adam, you came up to 50. So Ryan takes a point on that one. Ryan, you said ex-bourbon and sherry. Adam, you said ex-bourbon only. It is ex-bourbon and sherry. Distillery, Ryan, you said Mortlock 12. Adam, you said the Bruichladdich Isla Barley 2011. It is actually Redbreast 15 years.
Nice.
3 more years than the 12 and 6 percentage points more on the proof. Makes that much nicer of a bottle than the Redbreast 12. So that one ended at 4-2. So that is a 10-8.
So I could catch up.
Okay.
Well, with as big a difference as there was with the last sample, yeah, either I'm winning by a lot or I'm losing.
And sample number 2, the one sample where you guys are pretty close to opposites on. Ryan, you said bourbon. Adam, you said rye. Ryan, you're going to take a point. It is a bourbon. Ryan, you said 60%. Adam, 50% or 100 proof. Neither one of you are going to get a point on that one. It is actually 54.5 or 109 proof. You both said new oak. You both take a point on that one. It is new oak only. Ryan, you said straight bourbon. Adam, you said straight rye. Ryan, you're taking a point. It is a straight bourbon. Specific ABV or proof. Ryan, you said 59. Adam, you stayed at 50, so no points there. We're at 54.5. And you both said new oak for the specific casking, so both take a point on that one. Ryan, you said Heaven Hill ECBP, doesn't matter which bottle. Adam, you said the 45th parallel R100 rye. Neither of you going to get any points on that one. It is actually Four Roses, the small batch strength from 2022.
Wow. That is crazy.
That is crazy. This is this is a neat whiskey. I find this one to be really fun.
Yeah, and I don't think I've had that was the 22 you said?
Yeah.
I think I've had the 23 and I don't know, like I almost went because I could tell it was kind of that higher proof, and I almost went to a Four Roses pick, but I'm like, no, like there's not enough rye in that for it to be Four Roses, but small batch select, a little more age, a little tampering down of that definitely makes a lot of sense.
And it's multiple recipes put into the batch.
Right.
So it may not end up being high rye.
Well, I mean, their low rye recipe is 20%, which is still high rye by most standards.
Oh, all right.
So
yeah, I don't know their recipes all that much. I know they have 10, but I don't know them all. So that sample number 2, netted 4-2 in favor of Ryan, which puts the end final score at 14-8.
Wow.
In favor of Ryan.
I got smoked. Nice job.
I wouldn't say smoked. You scored 8 points. That's right at the high side of the average of what most people score. So, but yeah, good stuff, guys, all the way through.
Well, wait, he had more than 8, didn't he? He had like 10. Or no?
Because I got a couple points on the
sorry.
last one.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I was like, he got new oak for the last one. He was already at
it's 4-2 on sample number 2 is 4-2.
Yeah.
Sample number 3 was 6-6, so that's 10-8. Yeah. And then sample number 1 was 4-2 also. So yeah, 14 to.
I cracked the double digits.
You did, yeah. So that's even higher than average. I don't know why I put 8 down. I knew it wasn't 8. I have them all written down right here.
I was like, how did he score 6 and only get 10 overall? Because he scored
Yeah.
on every sample.
Don't mind me. Sometimes I screw up shit and I have to double check. And as you guys are writing, sending me these things, I'm double checking everything. Like I get something else in my brain and it goes somewhere else, So Ryan, that means you move on to round 3, and you're either going to go up against Jack the Hood Sommelier or Dylan at US Smallcraft.
I mean, just for sheer entertainment, I hope I go up against Jack. No offense to Dylan.
Jack is an entertaining fella for sure. And that will be March 26th.
Okay. I guarantee you I will not get a word in edgewise.
That's fine. Jack has a lot to say, and he's fun. He's super fun, dude.
I'm excited to tune in for the final. Is that going to be on the 26th, you said?
Yes. So round 4 will be the March 26th and April 2nd, and then the final will be April 16th.
Okay.
I take a week in between the last one of the 4th round, so I can make sure that I get samples out and stuff. Otherwise, it gets real close. I like this, Martin.
I mean, maybe I was Anakin and now I'm Darth. I don't know.
You know what's funny?
Marshall will make a good scroll for us to read.
Your comment,
Marshall Martin.
Your comment in the Blind Sample Showdown chat earlier tonight was you either die the hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, and that is happening right now. You're seeing yourself become the villain. That's great. That worked out.
Does that mean I died a hero? Because I'll take that.
I mean, hopefully you didn't die, but you're a hero in my book.
And Yoda slowly fades away.
Perfect.
I don't think you can do a dissolve on live video, Germ.
I don't think so.
No, I can't. No, I can't.
No.
Not on this one, anyways.
No,
Agave. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining, bud.
Honestly, I just keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. This is like 3rd time double digits, so like I knew I had to get double digits again to beat Adam, which I did.
Here's what's going to happen, and I'll give you the forewarning now. If you do make it into the final, your hand-selected samples are going to be some crazy shit.
Oh, I bet. But
because you're doing great at breaking down. I mean, for the most part, your points are in the basics. In the categories, you're good on the proof on most of them. But you're getting the 4 points on the first 6, and that's a big one. And then every once in a while you land one of those bottles or distilleries, and yeah, we're gonna have to really throw you some curveballs is what's gonna have to happen here.
Well, it's gonna be probably 3 ASMs then.
Maybe.
You got some weird stuff on that list.
I do. I have some weird stuff.
Did I have an ASM against Marshall?
I don't remember.
I'm gonna go back and look now.
I don't even remember what these 3 samples were. Come on now.
Or no, it was the it was the Cataleja.
Oh yeah, that's a weird one.
Yeah.
Lots of finishing casts on that one.
Yeah, but I was still close on that one. I basically guessed the Cedar Ridge sherry, which honestly, like, if I grabbed my after the show, I grabbed my bottle of that, and it was pretty darn close to that Cataleja.
Okay,
that's a really
good perfect.
Bottle.
So
all right, so that being said, Ryan, you are moving on. March 26th is your next one. We don't know who you're up against yet, but we'll figure that out next week. Adam, I appreciate you taking all the time. Nora, also, I appreciate you taking the time. I hope you have a great time in Phoenix and a better time in Scotland. I know that's where you're headed shortly. And I cannot wait till the 2nd when the release comes out. And everybody in the chat or watching this anytime in between now and April 2nd, keep an eye out, lostlanternwhiskey.com. April 2nd, the spring release comes out. If you're curious to see what some of what they're doing, if you've never had a Lost Lantern, pick up a bottle or 2 or 3 because you get free shipping when you do 3 ahead of time, and I can assure you, you're going to like them. So,
Thank you.
all of that said, I need to pour something in a glass because I can't cheers an empty glass. You guys both did an excellent job tonight. I know the samples were a little strange, a little eclectic, but you guys did good. You picked them apart pretty well. And until next week, everybody, cheers to this American spirit.
Cheers.
All right.